Hello, Dr. Karen Can here. Welcome to another edition of the Spiritual Medicine Digest. Every week, I give you what's going on in the spiritual world as far as what's happening to us as a species during the ascension process. And a lot of times it has to do with what I see in my healing groups, what I see with my one-on-one clients. If there are some patterns that are repeating, then I go and do my spiritual investigation. I connect to source and ask, hey, what's going on with this? So this past week has been interesting because we found out that our energy bodies were evolving or are evolving to a different level, and that means it has to kind of recalibrate itself. So what's your energy body? Well, the energy body is not your physical body, but the energetic body that a lot of people, well, most people can't visually see. Some people can. Some people can see the aura and they can see, chakras and organs and, all that kind of stuff energetically. But most of us can't see it with our regular vision. But the energy body consists of things like your heart line, for example, a power line going down the center of your spine that connects you to earth and heaven above or source above. You also have your chakras, which are like energy wheels or centers that are like transformers. So it transforms some of the energy coming to the heart line to the different organs and glands and meridians. So they commonly describe 7 in the body, the 8th outside, and I've learned there's many more other kinds of chakras, but that's for another discussion. So that also includes, the energy body also includes like your auric field, your assemblage beam that comes out of here, which has the positive morphic fields or blueprints for all your other organs, and also emotional and mental things as well. It also includes your dantian, your energy center. Your energy body includes your dantian, your energy center below the belly button, as well as your meridians. Acupuncture, classical Chinese medicine, they talk about acupuncture meridians. So you have like yin meridians, yang meridians, and they carry qi and energy in the body. And there's a lot of energetic anatomy. I'm sure there's a lot we don't even know about, but just so you know that this past week we have been recalibrating that. So sometimes it can feel a little odd for certain highly sensitive people. Most other people may not even notice anything at all. So the 2 symptoms that have come up this week, one is for, one symptom happens to be apparent in many what we call light being starseeds. So these are people who are light beings incarnated into a physical human body. They're really high vibrational beings. If they don't know who they are, sometimes it's difficult because that high vibration is sort of like a live wire. There's so much energy there that the physical body's like, I can't handle it. So what happens during the ascension process, and in this case when the energy body is recalibrating, is sometimes the speed of recalibration can be so many more times faster in these light being starseeds. And as a result of that, they can have some symptoms. One of the symptoms that's the most common is swelling. So that is parts of the body gaining water. Now, I'm only half light being starseed. The other soul is angelic. But the part of me that's a light being starseed, I've been going through this for the last several years. Just like the more energy work I do, the higher consciousness I become, the more water was kind of like, basically overnight I would gain a couple of pounds. I was like, whoa, what's going on? So this water was not just any old water. It wasn't just like what we call bulk water, which is just like excess edema, like that's, or ascites if you have liver issues, like that's unhealthy water, okay? That is not healthy water. Healthy water or high vibrational water is crystal water. Crystal water is structured water. And in this case, it's what Gerald Pollack calls easy water or exclusion zone water. You can check that out in his book for the 4th phase of water. So this easy water is collecting, and we can make more of it when we get some huge downloads of positive frequencies. I call them source codes, and in light being starseed, sometimes we'll have a massive processing. They'll go super fast and like be able to take in these source codes, take it in. The physical bodies on the other hand are kind of like, whoa, that's a lot of information, right? So it can't process the information that quickly yet. So what happens is the easy water is produced and it holds that information, until which time you can process it. And that's another story, how we do the processing. So if you're not a light being starseed, you might not have noticed anything with regards to swelling. So lucky you. But if you did notice something, you might notice a little bit more tiredness, because every time we do a recalibration, sometimes there's just a little bit more fatigue, and that's not necessarily bad. This fatigue we're talking about is called the parasympathetic dominance. That is usually a healing mode. So you've got your fight or flight on the one hand, and then you've got your relaxation mode on the other hand, okay? And this is sort of like the brake, the accelerator and the brakes. So what happens is sometimes during these Ascension upgrades, in this case, recalibration is going on, sometimes the parasympathetic is much higher than the fight or flight, and relatively speaking, you feel tired. But in some ways, it's amazing. When I've had periods like this, I've literally wanted to just sit there and stare at the wall. Yep. So, and you know what? One night I did. When I was like, oh, I'm really parasympathetic. Of course, I do divine muscle testing, right? So I can tell whether it's pathological tiredness or a good tired. In this case, it was the good tired, the parasympathetic dominance, profound healing mode. So I'm on the couch. This is like a couple of years ago. But anyway, I'm on the couch and I muscle test, and I'm like, wow, I'm really parasympathetic. I'm parasympathetic dominant. So I just feel like staring at the wall. So I thought, I'm just going to stare at the wall. So I'm staring at the wall, and then I could feel the vibes in my body. And this is actually something we teach for you to do to get more into the present moment, is to feel the energy flowing in your body. I call it stoem, stillness through observing internal movement. So I was doing stoem, and I'm vibing, right? And I don't feel like moving a muscle. And then I got the inspiration, thank you, my angels, got the inspiration to just imagine a future reality that I wanted. I was like, oh, okay. So I'm like staring at the wall and feeling the vibe, and then I'm seeing in my mind's eye this whole scene, like all the stuff happening that I really like. And I'm like, well, that's good, since I don't feel like doing the dishes or laundry or working or anything else, and I just feel like sitting here, I might as well just be. And so what I was being, and I was being in my new reality. And I gotta tell you, like the next day, like synchronicities were happening, like things were happening, money was coming in. I was like, whoa, that's really cool. So in case you were tired, in case you are primarily parasympathetic, use it. Use it. Feel the vibe in your body and imagine, because if you don't have energy to do anything else, that's what you gotta do, right? So imagine your ideal reality. Feel it in every fiber of your being. Feel it in your body. That is a useful, way to use fatigue. So the energy body is recalibrating. In this case, a lot of times we try to quicken the recalibration, like kind of get it done sooner so we're less symptomatic. In this case, it's the opposite, interestingly, that the light being starseeds who do this so quickly are doing it so fast their body can't catch up. So we actually created a positive morphic field, what we call an automatic alignment activator, AAA for short. It's like a bubble of healing energy with intelligence within it. Your higher self is part of it, your spirit team is part of it, and it has a discernment. In other words, it has ability to read you in a certain way to see whether, in this case, the speed is appropriate for you. So you can actually download this automatic alignment activator, because I've already created it. Okay, and if you have my Ascension 2, this is where you would use that MP3. If you happen to have the prototypes of my Ascension 3 necklace, you can also do that. You would just grab it and say, hey, I want the AAA to optimize the speed of my energy recalibration. Okay, so you would do that with Ascension 2. You just turn it on and you would just say, hey, optimize the speed of my recalibration, please, my energy body recalibration, please, right? So what'll happen is if yours is going too fast, it'll start slowing that down to a more manageable level, and hopefully it'll be less symptomatic in case you're symptomatic. And for most of us highly sensitive souls, we're doing it faster. So unlike being it too slow. But anyway, the idea of the AAA is to optimize that speed. And according to source, it takes about 24 hours to get that optimization. So it's not immediate per se. It's sort of like, a runaway train that you're trying to slow down. It kind of takes a little while, right, to put on the brakes or slow it down or whatever. So I don't know how the universe does it, but we're the ones that get to direct it and understand it and appreciate it, part of our evolution, and then we can ask the universe to help us with that process. So the reason I have the whiteboard here today is I was inspired to share with you a new model that came to me thanks to Source and my angels, about like, how does one make stuff happen? Like, how do we make stuff happen in our lives that we really, really want, right? Like we really desire, you know, because they say, you know, have an abundance mindset, have a positive money mindset, have a, you know, abundant relationship mindset, and, you know, and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, I had this conversation with Source. I said, how can I explain this in a simple way? Because I've been experiencing it over the last couple of decades and then really living it more recently, and just understanding that if I desire something and I feel passionate about it, it's a real desire of mine, I know that that's divinely inspired. Now, if I don't have the money, I'm just talking about money at the moment, but if I don't have money for that at this time, I used to say, oh, I can't afford it, you know, can't you make it cheaper, you know, like, why is it so expensive, you know, and I would just do this kind of like complainy kind of thing to the universe, right? But now it's really different. I've really worked hard on changing my mindset and my beingness. And so now if there's something that I really desire and I'm like, I would really love to do that, you know, I put it on my list of what I desire or what it's going to be in the future, and then I get into a place of being, and then I say to the universe, show me the money. And we have the, you know, it's like this little relationship, like, show me the money, right? And then I go into stillness, and that's my job, and I wait and see. And what happens is that in that place of being, there is a little drop in of a hint, a little piece of advice, you know? And if my mind is quiet, which for me means paying attention to my body, because my mind is like all the time. So when I pay attention to my body, my mind goes quiet. That's why I teach Stoam. And I'll take this inspiration. And now I know, because it's a new habit. Now I know, that's the answer. So the universe is dropping in this guidance. And then I take action on the guidance, and there's earthly actions involved. And then that's how I do it. So instead of asking, you know, I can't afford it, for example, now I go, how can I afford it? How can I afford it? This is what I desire. And what I desire is not bad. So I'm going to own it. I'm going to say, I desire this. I would love to experience this, universe. Okay, so guess what? You're going to help me. And that's my attitude these days. You're going to help me. Show me the money. Okay, that's my latest thing I'd like to say to my students and my clients. Show me, you know, when I'm coaching them, show me the money. So it's, I know I'm joking around, but seriously, I mean, that's the energy. I'm like, show me the money. Okay, I can't wait to see what you guys come up with, you know? So then I just be in the space. So this is what I've been guided to share with you. So I'm going to draw the first circle. SA stands for spiritual action. So in order to achieve and manifest what you really want, there is some spiritual action that's involved. Now, action is not exactly the word, but it's easy to remember. So the spiritual action that you need to do is going to the being state. Connect with source, connect with your being state, connect with 0 point. How you do that? Many different ways, but my way is through stillness, through observing internal movement. So I just check in, I tune my attention inside my body, feel the vibration going on. We have a whole exercise on how to do that. I'll put the link below this video. If you're on YouTube, I'll put the link below so you can find out that article, get a free little meditation download. So spiritual action, okay? So that is one requirement, underlying requirement for you to masterfully manifest your ideal reality, okay? Now, that's spiritual action. But there's something else. EA stands for earthly or earth actions. So my good friend Jeff Gignac talks about earth actions being like your 10% of what you do physically out there in the real world, you know, not just in here. Now, for some people, it is 10%. For most people, it's about 10%. But for those with higher responsibility levels, because you are a highly spiritual being, that you pick this assignment on Earth to make a difference, to increase the light and consciousness of the Earth, your earthly actions, you know, might be more than 10%. Maybe it's 20%. Probably not more than that, but you know, but for most people, it's like 10%, okay? Or your spiritual action is super important and absolutely required for you to do your mission here on earth. So these percentages, you know, are different for different people. Generally speaking, the spiritual action, that beingness, guess what? That's most of the work, and that's not work at all. It's actually kind of fun after a while, okay? That's your main thing that you do, you know, you be. And guess what? When you be, and then you listen to that earthly, those little hints, and you do your earthly action, okay? Then what you really tap into is your own personal power. You really tapped into that power, and the universe is here to support you. And so the rest of how you get what you really want is the universe's action. I used to push. I used to just push. You know, it's going to be my way or the highway. You know, I'd spend so much energy. I got adrenal fatigue, fibromyalgia, like I had stress, you know, all this kind of stuff. It took me decades to actually get convinced that if I just be, that everything starts happening the way I want it to be. Maybe not the way I designed it to be, but for my highest and greatest good. And if I just be quiet in that stillness, I'll get the hint of what my earthly action is. And it's inspired action, meaning that it's fun, it's cool. You know, it's not this grudging, blah, you know, kind of action. So this, I don't have a name for this model, but the 3 actions, I guess: spiritual action, earth action, and universal action. So now you have a visual, for those of you that are visual, to know, hey, what is missing maybe? Now the universe action is always going to be there, but it's going to be responding to hear who you are being, your resonance. So if you are spending a very little time in spiritual action and tons of time in earthly action, and they may not be guided earthly action, and then the universe is going to respond to you based on that effort, that scarcity, that stress. It'll just give you more of what you say you want based on who you are being. But if you're being in that place of peace, calm, no matter what's going on, coronavirus or no coronavirus, okay, and you take your earthly actions, then the universe responds to that frequency and gives you more of what you do desire. Cool. Okay, so that's the lesson for this week for Spiritual Medicine Digest. A couple of announcements. So number 1, on Monday's radio show, I will be traveling, and we are going to be replaying the block therapy interview with Deanna Hansen. The block therapy is a wonderful way to release pain and restriction in your body. And she's going to teach us the 3 important ingredients to releasing pain naturally and to reshape your body. It's really cool. So if you haven't seen that one or haven't listened to that one, you definitely want to connect there. We're going to put the link below to the replay of the radio show. That's going to go live at Monday, 12 noon Eastern. And then the second thing I want to tell you about is Monday afternoon, 4 p.m. Eastern. I'll be launching on the UWealth Telesummit. And the UWealth Telesummit is in its 19th season. Pretty cool, huh? So it's in its 19th season, and I'm going to be talking about advanced healing for light warrior sensitive souls. So we're talking about healing for light beings. We're talking about healing for like earth angels. And so join me there. So there's a link below. You can get on the mailing list so you get alert of that link, and join me live 4 p.m. Eastern as Darius interviews me, because there's a really cool really cool bonuses for you if you do. So so that's this week's Spiritual Medicine Digest. Until next week, bye for now. Lots of love.